blessing that I get to see things at different levels, with the kids, the adults, and then kind of what the research and the literature says about everything. And then these here, the presentations are kind of an opportunity for me to share, not really my work, but my experiences with the kids that I've come to work with. So first off, kind of the elephant in the room. Bow tie, no butterflies were hurt while making it, but it is and then the other piece is that the title's pretty long, it's kind of weird, but it captures exactly what I'm trying to say. And it's that we need to actually reframe the achievement gap, and we need to do this through the eyes of an artist. And it's important because we actually are not reaching our lowest students. And I believe we've never been reaching our lowest students institutionally, and that's a big deal. Now, when it comes to the achievement gap, when I finally understood and began to realize what the achievement gap was, it was when I started teaching language arts and math intervention at the high school level. And every day I would come into contact with something like 50 to 90 students who were operating at the 4th, 5th, and 6th grade level in math and in language arts. So this is tough as an educator, because you know that your path went through college, and these students are as far away as they could possibly be from that path. And the truth is that they're the same kids who never really got a shot in education, and they never had a chance to actually express themselves through education, because a lot of education never really was for them. We haven't been able to solve that issue. So when I have this conversation with people, there's a couple of non-negotiables for me. And the way I see it is that if you want to sit at the big kids table in education, you basically have to accept this, first of all. And that's that students must have the opportunity to be active creators rather than passive consumers. And amen. They have to be. And the issue with the students who are most affected by the achievement gap is that they never really got to be active creators. And what I mean by that is our projects are typically reserved for those that finish early, those who are on that track, and their parent happened to know that teacher and got them put into his or her class, that class with the funding, that class where they do the fun things, that class that takes the field trips. Kids with the achievement gap or in the achievement gap never got that. Never got that, and never even understood that it was out there for them. The next part is that project-based learning actually helps close the achievement gap. And sometimes we kind of talk about this in kind of vague terms, and I don't feel that people really understand it. Sometimes people say, it's because they're making things. Of course, it's because they're making things. It's because it's hands-on. Of course, it's because it's hands-on. But the real reason why project-based learning actually changes the achievement gap, or actually helps shift it over, is because well, actually, you could see it when you walk into a classroom that's traditional, and then when you walk right into a class that's project-based. When you walk into a traditional classroom, the teacher, the student, anybody can tell you, those three are the good writers. Oh, those are my good readers. Those three work very hard, and kind of that's code for those are the ones we're pretty sure are going to go to college at some point, and everybody else is kind of praying for them right now. When you go into a project-based learning classroom, you kind of have the same dynamic. You have people that the teacher, the kids can say, those three are the great writers. Those three are the great readers. Those three work hard. But have you seen her 3D models? I think she's gonna be working at Pixar one day. And have you seen his website? His website is so good. It looks like he could actually go out there and start making websites for people. They look at other pieces. They see animations. No, but his animations, the way he tells stories with his animations, he uploaded it to YouTube, and now he's getting some views. So what this does is it starts to make your classroom more equal, and it provides multiple points of entry for people or for students to access the curriculum. And this works wonders, because now more people are represented, more people have the opportunity to share, and more people are they're telling their story and they're learning. The last piece that's important for me, and it's dear to me, is that if you empower children to teach other children, it will change your life. It's good for the soul. I firmly believe it is good for the soul to have kids teaching other kids. It kind of grounds you. It brings you back to how it all why you're there, why it's important, and why we're educators. So this is the achievement gap, and again, this is kind of the idea. You go in, and the kids over here, they're more or less, they're going to college. That's what we understand, and that's kind of who education is geared for. When you start doing the project-based learning, now maybe you have 4, 5, or 6, 7 other kids who are also getting good at the stop motion You have other kids who are doing really great with presentations. You find that kid who probably, he's been having trouble writing an essay for the life of him, but when he goes up there and presents, it's like, a star is born. and again, when you see this taking place in the class, maybe you haven't yet shifted over the ELA, maybe you haven't shifted over the math, but now you have all of these kids who are present, who are there, who are contributing, and who are a part of the actual classroom environment. Now, this is where the issue comes, and this is where the reframing and the artist piece comes. And not to say that anybody else will suffer from it, but I know that when I go back, I'm going to start thinking, man, Corey, what she was talking about, I want to try and do that too. Carippo, he had so many great ideas. And I'm going to go back to my school site, and the first thing that I start thinking is that something I could really do on a Monday? A Wednesday? No, Wednesday's a short day. I don't think I'm going to have enough time. That's definitely a Friday activity. On Fridays we do this, and I'm not going to have any time to do this on Fridays. Wait, what about my principal? What about this? What about this? What about this? What about that? Ah! Mind blown. Mind blown, and I'm just lost in the cloud. But this is where the artistry comes in. Typically, we err on the side of the science when it comes to teaching. We're all about the methods, the pedagogy, data, show me your data. Everybody can say the truth, but show me your data. But you got to err on the side of the artistry, because it's only as an artist that you kind of look at all that mess that you have there, and you realize, you know what? It's kind of like a canvas. It's a canvas, and to put it better, if we put a frame around it, there's plenty of things that could actually fit inside of this. And it's actually only the canvas and the frame that make the artwork possible. And we know that within any little canvas, within any little frame, you can fit the work of Da Vinci, you can fit work people like Frida Kahlo, you can fit work of Vincent van Gogh. And again, it is only the frame, it is only those that constricting environment that makes that possible. And you might say, well, what if they paint on the wall? Well, it is the mural, and the murals and the wall is what made the mural possible. So this is one of I'm going to share with you a couple of paintings that I got to participate in. At first, I would say it was my painting, and then eventually when I realized, oh no, Eddie, you were just lucky to be in the room. It was a painting by your students. And this one is this is my favorite example, because it wasn't possible if not for the restrictions and the constraints put on us. So how it worked was, I went up to teach language arts and math 9th grade intervention. It was kind of a challenge. Hey, Eddie, you want to try and do the projects with the tough kids in our district? Yeah, sure, sign me up, let's go. And so I show up and I say, no, but I'll only do it if we can get a little program going where my students are mentoring the little kids at the elementary next door. Yeah, sure, that's awesome, come on down, you can do it. And so I have a little partnership set up. I start training my kids in Go Animate and Prezi and SketchUp. And so my kids are ready, they're all about tutoring, they're gonna go out there, we're gonna go roll out technology. And then the big frame comes. The big frame, the canvas, clear as day. Wait a second, we're not gonna be able to go to the elementary school anymore? So how are we going to do this? I have a tech team with nobody to teach tech to. And this is where the magic comes from, because I have somebody who actually reaches out, or I reach out to him, and then he comes back and he responds, and he says, well, you know what, at my school we're getting devices for the first time. Our fifth grade students have no training in it. We're not sure how exactly we're going to do it. And now, we were like, all right, so exactly how's this going to work? You're 100 miles away. I can't take the kids over there for a field trip. And we started doing a little technology-based rollout via FaceTime. And the way that this actually worked was each student, or a couple of my students, would work in pairs, and then they would teach a larger group of students out in the 5th grade class. And we kind of cycled through them. We just started cycling through. So 2 taught 7, 2 taught another 7, 2 taught another 7. We usually did it during recess and lunch, and eventually